Once there was a young traveler named Ethan, who had always loved exploring old places that history had forgotten. And one evening, while passing through a fog-covered forest, he came across a massive iron gate, half buried under ivy, beyond which stood a towering mansion that seemed alive under the dim moonlight, its windows faintly glowing as if eyes were watching him. The signboard near the gate read, "Hollowmere Estate," though the letters were almost faded away. Ethan was exhausted, his flashlight flickering, so he decided to rest inside despite the eerie silence that surrounded the place. As he pushed the gate, it creaked loudly as though protesting, and suddenly all forest sounds vanished, the crickets, the wind, everything. The air grew heavy, pressing against his chest. He approached the mansion's door, and before he could knock, it slowly opened by itself. Inside, dust floated like ghosts through beams of moonlight leaking from cracked ceilings. Portraits of unfamiliar faces lined the hallway, but what unsettled him was that all the painted eyes seemed to follow his movement. Each step echoed endlessly, and the floorboards moaned under his boots. Ethan whispered to himself that it was just his imagination, but the longer he stayed, the stronger the sense of being watched became. He found a candle on a small table and lit it, noticing it had been recently used. That was impossible. This place looked abandoned for decades. He moved toward the main hall where a massive staircase spiraled upward. A grand chandelier above him began to sway slightly, though there was no wind. He froze. Suddenly, a whisper brushed his ear, a woman's voice saying, "You came back." He spun around. No one was there. His heart raced. He climbed the stairs, drawn by a soft humming sound, a melody like a lullaby. The candlelight trembled as if reacting to something unseen. Upstairs, a long corridor stretched endlessly, lined with old doors. One door at the end was slightly open, and light flickered inside. He pushed it open carefully, revealing a room filled with old toys, porcelain dolls with cracked faces, rocking horses frozen mid-motion, and a music box spinning slowly, playing the same tune he'd heard earlier. He stepped closer, and the music box stopped suddenly, its key still turning. A faint giggle echoed behind him. When he turned, one of the dolls was now sitting upright on a chair facing him, its glass eyes gleaming. He stumbled back, knocking over a small chest from which spilled dozens of black and white photographs, all showing the same family, a man, woman, and little girl. But in each photo, the faces looked more decayed than before, as though captured through time's rot. The last photo showed Ethan himself standing beside the little girl. His breath caught. How could that be? He had never been here before. The floor creaked again, heavier this time, like someone walking right behind him. He turned and saw a shadow, tall and still. Then the candle blew out. Panic seized him. He fumbled with his lighter, its spark briefly revealing the figure of a woman in a long Victorian dress, her face hidden behind a veil. "Why did you leave us?" she whispered, stepping closer, her voice trembling with both sorrow and rage. Ethan's mind raced. Was she mistaking him for someone else? He backed away toward the hallway, but the door slammed shut. The walls seemed to breathe, their wallpaper pulsing like veins. The portraits in the hall now all had his face. He ran down the staircase, his boots thudding against wood that felt softer than before, almost flesh-like. He reached the main hall, but the door he entered from was gone. Only a blank wall stood there. He pounded on it, shouting, his voice echoing back distorted, mocking. Then faint footsteps approached, the same woman's voice calling, "Ethan, the fire is waiting." He turned to see the chandelier swinging violently now, sparks falling as one candle dropped and ignited the rug. Flames spread fast, climbing the curtains, licking the walls. Smoke filled the room, and through it, Ethan saw ghostly figures forming, the family from the photographs watching him with hollow eyes. The little girl stepped forward holding the same music box, and as she opened it, instead of music, a whispering chorus of voices filled the air, chanting words he couldn't understand. His vision blurred. the air too thick to breathe. He collapsed, gasping. Then everything went black. When he woke up, he was lying outside the mansion gate, the sun rising. The mansion behind him looked normal now, silent and lifeless. He stood up, confused, thinking maybe it had all been a nightmare. But when he checked his backpack, the music box was inside, still ticking softly. His stomach turned. He ran from the place, swearing never to return. Years passed, but he kept the box locked away, trying to forget. Until one night, it started playing on its own. He smashed it open in anger, only to find inside a small folded photograph, one that hadn't been there before. It showed the mansion engulfed in flames, and in a window, his own face screaming for help. Terrified, he dropped it, but when he looked again, the photo was gone. That night, he dreamed of the woman again, her face finally visible. She looked exactly like him. He woke up in cold sweat and rushed to the mirror, his reflection flickering for a second, showing her face instead of his. He screamed, and the lights in his room shattered. The next morning, his neighbor reported strange noises from his house but found it empty, except for a single photograph lying on the floor. It showed Ethan standing in front of Hollowmere Mansion, smiling faintly. The photo was still warm, as if just taken. Nobody ever saw Ethan again, but sometimes travelers passing through that same forest report hearing faint piano notes, and a child's giggle, leading them to a place where no mansion stands anymore, only ashes and silence. And those who stay long enough claim to see someone standing among the trees, watching with familiar eyes, waiting for them to come inside once more.